your shit. Need a horn and a drum roll. Turn up, yeah!
I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Now it's time to go to work.
What is going on, Florida State family, Seminole Nation, and the 863 tribe? It is your boy. Hold on a second. It is your boy POLK, a.k.a. a.k.a. the goddamn truth. Haven't done a hangover in a while, so here we are, episode 86, and I want to simply discuss recruiting. Recruiting is becoming a big topic. This is the time of the year for that, I would say, is there's not a lot of actual football going on. So recruiting, and more recruiting. FSU has a recruiting weekend going on right now as we speak. And they've got some big targets, man, upcoming. So I want to talk about not only who we're targeting, but who we have already committed, man, and how should we feel about each commit and how good or bad, we're gonna run down recruiting here on tonight's episode. So if that's what you're looking forward to, man, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and share the video, man. Let everybody know we are live on a Friday night. And we are going to talk some recruiting, some FSU recruiting. So like, subscribe, share the video. And as always, on these episodes, not my typical live streams, right? But on these, let's get a roll call going before we dive into the conversation. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Truth be told is in the building. Jeff in the building. Tyler Hedden, Brandon Bell, Briley Char, Maurice Lovelace, Peter Shields, member of the 863 tribe. Let me say this again. Jeff, Tyler, member of the 863 tribe. Jeff, member of the 863 tribe. Peter, member of the 863 tribe. Matthew Ardavius Vontae, member of the 863 tribe. FSU Tony, member of the 863 tribe. Chris Robinson, Orlando on the check-in, like always. Richard Prite, Damian Adams. I don't know if I said it already, but Ardavius Hall. Till Dog, sorry. Jonathan McIntosh, let's get it, Mon. Rose, member of the 863 tribe. And Jason Hoosh, welcome as a tribal chief. Shout out to Jason, the newest member of the tribe, man. That is dope. And because we got a new member of the tribe, thank you so much.
The money goes into my piggy bank.
So. Whoops. Okay. I think I've hit everybody. All right. Quick update. I want to give you guys an update. Since Jason just reminded me. My tribe members, by all means, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter, any social media, man, hit my inbox, give me addresses. I told you, man, I'm giving away. So the good news is, there's good news and bad news. If you're a tribe member, then I can see how long everybody's been a tribe member. So if you've been a tribe, if you've been a member of the 863 tribe for a good minute, you're getting shirts on me. Just tell me what you want, whether that's my email, if you don't follow me on any social media. And if you follow me on social media, by all means, hit my inbox, DM me. With that said, the bad news. The bad news is the individual who does these for me, does all of this in the design, they're in the process of moving. So they won't be getting the shirts out till like July. So that's when they're starting. That's when they should be settled. So probably, July is the earliest. Probably start taking orders in July, actually. So who knows, when those shirts might arrive. So that's the bad news. The good news is I'm still giving out the shirts. If you're not a member of the tribe and you still want a shirt, by all means, man, hit me up. You just got to pay for it. But for those that have supported me for a long time, including like Chris always comes in here. He drops his $10 and he says Orlando on the check-in, Heat and 7. Now he's drunk on that last part, but Orlando is always on the check-in. Someone like Chris, my man Jeff, who always donate, I got them too, by all means. But again, if you're not a member of the tribe, you can still get a shirt. You got to pay for it. But appreciate that, Chris.
Yeah, more money. Yeah, more money. Yeah.
That's really the only news we got. I really want to get into recruiting and just, FSU has a lot of steam, or seems to have a lot of steam, man, on the trail. But we're in some recruiting battles that I don't think are going to be resolved anytime soon. So there's always a chance that those things change. So I want to look at some of the guys we are pursuing, and I want to look at the guys we already have committed. And we're just going to talk about recruiting today. It's going to be a big time recruiting show. As always, guys, disclaimer. When I start talking this stuff, this is all speculation on my part. I don't know what I'm talking about. If this is your first time around here, let me be very clear. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm not an insider. I don't know nothing. I'm not connected in any way. I simply sit up here and tell you guys a bunch of lies, and that somehow some of them turn up to be real. Some of them, some of them are accurate. But for the most part, guys, I just come up here. I just tell you stuff. I speculate. There you go. There's the word. I speculate. Okay, I want to be clear because this is going to be my soapbox moment for tonight's show. Well, it might not be my only one, but we'll see. But we'll start off. I want to be clear, right? There's a lot of individuals. It's good to see Florida State's fan base grow. And it's good to see more content creators emerge. I'm not knocking. I don't want to make it sound like I'm knocking people that are creating content and are putting, making YouTube channels or whatever it is that they're doing. I love it. I love the fact that FSU has this attention on them and we're getting good, as they say. And a lot of people now want to follow the program. There's a lot of people also that they have all the inside information. Look, you guys pick and choose who you follow and who you listen to at the end of the day. I just make it clear that I'm not that. All right. We are saturated right now in content. So it's kind of one of the reasons, plus it's the summer, not a lot going on. I don't go as live as often as I would do during the season, obviously. There's just not a lot to talk about. Plus, I'm listening to the same stuff you guys listen to on a regular basis. We're saturated with content. So a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about, You guys have probably already heard somebody talk about 1,000,000 times. And so everybody's got sources. Everybody knows somebody. Everybody knows the grandma's, mama's, baby daddy's cousin that knows the player. So the player told them this, and they'll be committing to Florida State, right? Everybody knows those things. I'm just going to tell you what I think. Just want to get that out there and get the air cleared up. Because, I have people DM me stuff and be like, how do you know what you're talking about? Bro, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just like to be clear. I have zero idea what I'm talking about. Okay, those other people that say they have sources, those are the guys that you should DM. Don't DM me asking me what I'm saying is this and it's not correct. Bro, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's complete speculation. I don't know nobody. With that said, let's get into tonight's conversation. First, what's up, Terrence? Yeah, I had to put that out, Terrence, man. I got people harassing me, bro. I gotta be clear. That I have zero idea what I'm talking about. Thought I've said this enough, but read a couple comments. By the member of the tribe, do you mean people who pay you monthly? Well, I don't have a Patreon, but the people you can become a member on the YouTube channel. People and that's exactly what I mean. If you get a nice little if you have a spear or the old logo by your name, you are a member of the tribe. So people who are members of the tribe, they know who they are. And if you look in the chat, you can see who they are because again, they have the old Seminole logo or a spear by their name or arrowhead by their name like Vontae B, right? Or just the FSU by their name, like Maurice Lovelace. Those are members of the 863 tribe. Where was I? That's right, Briley. Just a speculating light-skinned dude on YouTube, stroking the flame. Kane Zay in the building. What's going on? Everybody insider now. Hey, I ain't saying who is or who isn't. I'm just saying I'm not. I'm not telling you who is or who isn't. I'm just telling you I'm not. Let's get into it, man. Let's start off with some of the guys that we have committed. That's where I want to start off with. So I'm going to share my screen. There we go. Share screen. And I'll be kind of switching from 247 and On3. On3 does some things better, I think, than 247, but 247 is still kind of my go-to. The only problem with 247 is they don't update as often. So sometimes the information is like a few months behind in terms of accuracy. But we're going to start off with, and let me make it so, there you go. So I'm just like in the bottom of this. There you go. Dum, 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 dum. And right now, as you can see, according to 247, man, Florida State is a top 10 class. That's 9th overall. Now, I believe On3, as I have On3 right pulled up, but I'm not going to be flipping screens because then that's just too much. But I'm going to let y'all know. On3 actually has us as the number 7 ranked class this cycle. So On3 tends to think a little higher on some of the guys that we have than 247 does. And we'll talk about some of the discrepancies in this. For instance, Landon Thomas, as you see, he's the number 1 player at his position. He has been for a long time, but for some reason, On3, for whatever reason, man, they have him as the number 2 player at his position. Don't ask me how that happened overnight. He was at Georgia the whole time. He was the number 1 guy. As soon as he comes to Florida State, he drops to number 2. It is what it is. But he's consensus number 1 in his position on every other website. But for some reason, On3 not only has him as the number 2 player, On3 has him as a 4-star, not a 5-star. So there's that. ESPN and Rivals also have him as a 4-star prospect, just to be clear. Landon, man, got to feel pretty confident about Landon. Nothing really to worry about here. I mean, this is going to be the best tight end we've signed since Nick O'Leary, who was another 5-star tight end. So as we go down the list of these players, I'll just give you my am I worried? Should this recruitment work? No. Landon, I think we should be no issues with Landon. I mean, the other team was Georgia, and Georgia got the new number 1 tight end in the nation. No coincidence there, right? So you lose, or Georgia loses Landon, picks up the other guy. We're good, and what Jaheim Bell and some of these guys should do on the field this year should do nothing but solidify Landon Thomas going throughout the year. So let's move on to Cam Davis. Another Georgia player. On 3, he's got him. So he's a consensus 4-star. On 3 actually has him ranked higher than 247 does, though. On 3 has him as like a top 60 player in the country, while 247 has him right outside the top 100. On 3 also has him as the number 4 running back in the country, while 247 has him as the number 7. ESPN has him as a top 50. Rivals has him as a top 40 player. So Rivals is really high on him. Rivals actually has him as the number 1 player in this position. Look, the Rivals and ESPN, if you kind of look at I don't know anybody that really uses those recruiting services, if we're being honest. So I probably won't even mention them going forward anymore. It's another guy, man. Solid. I mean, if you see as much as his mom tweets about Florida State, what do they always say when it comes to recruiting, man? If you got the mom, you're good. I wouldn't be too worried about Cameron Davis at all. I think as we go these first 3, I think these first 3 are about as locked in as you can get. About as locked in as you can get from Cam Davis and Luke Kromenhoek. I mean, these top 3 guys are locked in. Let me see what talking about in the chat. I've been subscribed to you for a pretty long time, so how much longer? Well, I appreciate your subscription. Obviously, I'm not downplaying, but the membership is like $1, bro. It's not even a lot. So at any time you want to become a member, just do it. Just do it. Oh, don't worry, Marcus. I know who's a member and who's not a member, regardless. Jonathan says, how many games into the season will Luke get his 5th star? So Luke has skyrocketed, as we all know, man. Luke went from an unknown prospect to on 3's got him as a top 50 player. 247 has him as the number 60. I mean, 247's got him right outside the top 60 themselves. This guy is skyrocketed up the boards as far as quarterback goes. I don't know if he'll ever get the 3-star, but the Elite 11 still hasn't happened. Luke has made the cut for the Elite 11. Maybe a combination of where he places it against where he showcases his talent against some of the better quarterbacks in the country. Obviously, and then if I'm not mistaken, man, I don't think the guy has started the season last year for his team. So maybe, also a combination. Yes. No. Maybe a combination of, what he does on the high school field and that Elite 11 could get him that 5th star. I don't know if he ever gets it, but just the fact that he's gone from complete unknown to where he is now is miraculous in and of itself, as far as I'm concerned. So shout out to Luke Kromenhoek. There's no rumblings, bro. Those rumblings have been silent. That was Terrence. You're a little late on the Luke Penn State rumblings. That was like 3 months ago. Penn State has already signed. They've already got a quarterback commit. He took that trip to Penn State and then shut down his recruitment pretty much after that trip. In case you're not tracking, so sorry, Terrence. You're a little late on that. As a co-host, I need you to be better. Need you to be better. Let me make sure I'm just going through all the stuff. Oh, you're in Japan now, man. You always, always over the place. Once they commit to FSU, they drop in spots. But 5'10" safety commits to Bama. They go from unranked to top 100. Shout out to Noah850. $20 super chat from my man Jason. Shout out to Jason. He says, checking in from Sanford, home of Goldie Lawrence. So shout out to Jason, man. Jason becomes a member of the tribe and then starts dropping 20 bombs. I ain't mad at that at all.
Tell ass on with the Seminoles. I've been getting to this paper, focus on my goals. Trying to run this money up and pull up in a row. All this talking gangster, that shit getting old.
All right, let's continue down our list because here's where it gets interesting. As you're gonna see, the next guys are Tawaski Abrams, Lawayne McCoy, Camden Fryer, BJ Gibson, all wide receivers. If there's one position where I would tell Florida State fans as of right now, don't fall in love with any of these players, because I think this wide receiver room is going to change drastically over the coming months. I'm telling you, that what you see right here, BJ Gibson might be the only one that I'm not worried about. I don't know about Camden Fryer that much, but FSU's got some targets that could push Fryer completely out of this class. I know Miami still is going big on McCoy, and McCoy's still showing Miami love. And Tawaski Abrams, this is a guy who's visited Colorado. He's been shopping himself as well. Listen, if there's one position that I'm telling you, in my humble opinion, do not fall in love with these. Don't just expect some decommitments from this current 4 wide receiver room. There's 4 commits of this wide receiver room, because FSU's going big fish hunting with these wide receivers, if you haven't noticed. And they still got some other really good players outside of some of the big fish you already know. There's some other big-time 4-stars that rank higher than some of these guys. Also, FSU is still in the hunt for. I think if you want to talk about guys that I'm not confident in, probably all of these guys, with the exception of BJ Gibson, I think he sticks. But the rest of these guys would not shock me if they, as a matter of fact, let's look, since we're talking receivers, let's look at some of them, because here we go. Make sure you guys seeing what I'm seeing. Yeah. As you see right there, man, Jeremiah Smith, he's coming back to Florida State. Now, do I think we end up landing this guy? I really don't, but you're talking about a dude. I think he visited around spring. I think. Could be wrong there. I know he wasn't at the spring game, but I think he visited around the early part of this year. I tend to believe I read that he visited early part of this year. He's committed to Ohio State. You can't blame a receiver for being committed to Ohio State, right? But this guy's shopping himself. Whether it's Florida, Miami, Florida State, it's almost like he wants to stay in the state of Florida to some degree. And he's shopping himself to all of the big 3. Of course, he's still committed to Ohio State. So that's, Ohio State and wide receiver go hand in hand for the most part. That's a guy to watch. I'm not telling you. If you had to make me guess, FSU probably doesn't land that. But the fact that he continues to give Florida State some attention, you have to keep that open. And then he's going to be watching the Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman dynamic. I'm telling you, he's going to be watching that. And that's going to be, I think he's also showing Georgia some love. I think. But that's going to be dynamic, man. If our wide receiver room, Winston Wright, and if these boys go out there and put up these video game numbers, that is possible to happen. You could see us rise drastically in this recruitment. Cameron Coleman, you see, guy that we're allegedly warm for. out of Alabama. Don't know where he's necessarily leaning to, but 247 tends to think that we're in a good area. But this is another guy that I'm talking about, right? If Florida State can get this guy on campus at some point in this recruitment, this is a top 50 guy, right outside the top 50 in the nation. Another 6'3" wide receiver. Keep scrolling down. You're not going to see the other. We'll go to the athletes here because that's the other big name. But you got James Madison, who is another receiver that a lot of people are high on. And he's high on Florida State out of St. Thomas. Another 6'3" guy. Gotta love the body types Florida State is recruiting at that position right now. A New Orleans guy, with Destin Hill actually showing up. You got Ja'Kai Douglas, 2 Louisiana guys. Well, you got Kobe Young here they're targeting, and I'll take my chances with that. The point is, as I said, and let's go hold on real quick to athletes because obviously the big one, Josiah Trader. I mean, he's flirting with Florida State. He's flirting with Miami and the like. FSU believes they're in a good place for this guy. He's listed as an athlete, but for all intents and purposes, they plan on him being a wide receiver at the next level. And some people believe Florida State is in a lot better of a position than some people are, or that he may be alluding to. So, again, man, if you want to talk about wide receivers, that's the one position, in my opinion, that if you look at the current recruiting class, I don't think don't fall in love. I'm not knocking Tawaski Abrams, Lawayne McCoy, Camden Fryer, or BJ Gibson. I'm just telling you, don't fall in love with it. Because if FSU gains some traction on some of the big targets they have, they're not signing 8 wide receivers, right? They're not going to sign 7 wide receivers. You already have 4 committed. They're just going to push certain guys out of the class. That's just the nature of the beast. So before we continue, as you see, free Travis Rudolph. Absolutely. I know his life is hanging in the balance right now on trial. Hope everything works out for him. That story's crazy. If you don't know, look it up. I'm not going to go too much into it. But let's get to I want to get what some of you say. Fryer sticking. Hey, maybe he is. He'd be a legacy, all of that. I've seen a lot of Florida State legacies not come to Florida State, so we will see what happens. You tell me Fryer sticking, but again, I'm just a guy. I don't know anything. Remember. But if you land these big targets, again, bye-bye, Camden Fryer. But maybe they do. Maybe Fryer sticks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Murray says, we coming for those 5 stars. But we got to rob Ohio State. They've been taking 5-star wide receivers from Florida for too long. A lot of schools have actually been taking 5-star wide receivers from Florida for too long. Okay, everybody keeps telling me Camden is a legacy and he's not going anywhere. Okay, well, we've seen Marvin Jones Jr. go other places. We've seen a lot of legacies go elsewhere. So, yeah, don't want to waste too much time on whether or not a legacy is going to end up going somewhere else. Abrams was in his feelings yesterday after the JoJo crystal ball. I don't put much into the crystal balls as of right now, but there's got to be some serious traction. James Madison is the guy we just talked about, right? Hot take. I don't think Akeem will be on this team by next summer. Why, Zoe? Why do we do this? What? Bro, why do we do that? I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna entertain foolishness. Why? Because we could potentially be signing some better receivers. No, that's gonna push Hakeem out, bro. I'm not doing it. Why would we say that? I don't know. But for whatever reason, only Florida State fans are so jaded. The only way we could ever add pieces is if somebody's got to leave. Not even gonna do it. I think McCoy will end up. I think McCoy probably ends up at Miami regardless. I'm hearing. I don't know how accurate this is. I'm not even sure Florida State wants McCoy at receiver. He's an athlete as well on some websites. I'm not sure they want him. They're totally convinced of him at receiver. Could be wrong though. Beard being back down here opens up the floodgates for wide receivers to be in Miami. We will see, Zay. Let's see what you guys do on the field. But yeah, absolutely. Who in their right mind would go to Miami's? No Late 50 says wide receivers eat this year for FSU during the season, and Miami sucks again next year. I think FSU wins more of the battles if they show on the field. If Miami doesn't land a QB, there's no way Trader goes there over FSU. Madison flirting around with Louisville. A Miami fan's going to be sick when Trader commits to Florida State. Miami Galaxy King, what's going on, man? Miami will do well in recruiting again. I hope so. I don't really root for your downfall. I mean, you're already down, so I can't really root for the downfall. The downfall is there. My question for any Miami fan is the assumption that you will continue to do well in recruiting despite mediocrity on the field is interesting to me. So my question is, you were 5-7 last year. If Miami goes 6-6, is that good enough to do another top 10 class? I'm curious. Yeah, they got Air Judd out there, man. Air Judd doing his thing. Yeah, man, so you can laugh, but, man, I'm not doing that with you today. We're not going to be like Hakeem Lee. No, we're not doing it. I'm not doing it. Let me. Oh, we're going to get to that, Davies. We're going to get to that. Okay, let's continue on, and then we'll get to some of the targets and some of these positions, man, that we need to really attack in recruiting. But as obviously, like I said, those are your receivers. Once you get past the receivers, now you got the CJ Hurd. He's a safety. He's been committed since, like, this time last year. I actually still remember when he committed because he trolled Florida along the way. And he's, as of right now, he's kind of the lone guy that Coach Surtain has kept. You had was it Pride that was committed, but eventually, he decommitted and then committed to Texas A&M. Florida thought they were pulling that, but that didn't happen. So we still got to wait to see how the secondary ends up. But as you know, there's some big targets in that secondary. As of right now, you got CJ Hurd. You got the Randy Shannon special right here as Jaden Parrish. Look, we're going to talk linebackers moving forward, but yeah. Jamori Flagg, D lineman. We're going to talk defensive line too. See, when we talk defensive line, like, some of y'all get in y'all feelings because I've only been saying this about my boy, Uncle Odell, for the last couple years, but everybody tells me I'm wrong, yet it continues to prove right. Amazing developer of talent, but shout out to Jamori Flagg. We'll just say that as we continue to go forward. Let's do it, man. Let's go to these. Let's go position by position, man. Let's go to these offers and some of these targets that we're looking at. We're going to skip running back, even though I do think Florida State is working to try to sign another running back, which wouldn't surprise me. There's still some other guys out there that they're recruiting running back wise. So we'll see what happens there. We already covered wide receiver, so we're going to move on from wide receiver. Let's go tight. Well, I won't go tight ends because there is another tight end, but he's listed as an athlete. Let's go offensive line, man. Let's go offensive tackle more specifically. And then let me switch it over to on 3 as well. So I'm going to talk about both at the same time. QB. Okay, offensive tackle. There we go. Brandon Baker, man. This is one out of California who, for some reason, has kept Florida State around. I don't know if you guys have known this, but he called Florida State a dark horse. Now he is in a lot of ways crystal ball to Oregon, I believe. But he's a guy who I think he recently talked about Florida State and his interest there. I don't know. But Florida State has some other targets at offensive line. Another one, the one that I would really expect, you're not going to see him here. You'll see him on the 247 considers him an interior guy. On 3 considers him a tackle. That's Jonathan Daniels. I wholeheartedly expect us to get this kid out of Pensacola. Let me switch to on 3 so y'all can see. Because again, he's not on the 247. But Jonathan Daniels is a guy I wholeheartedly expect to be committed to Florida State at some point in the future. As far as offensive tackle goes. As we continue to scroll, this is another guy, another California guy, Manasseh. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. I don't know if that's an L or an I, ITT or Latiti. I tried to pronounce it and I said I wasn't. But anyway, this is another guy, man, that I expect Florida State to eventually lock down. I think we're going to have a pretty damn good offensive line class as a whole. And I would count this guy and Daniels in the mix. Could you pull a big fish like the number 1 guy in the country, Brandon Baker? Probably a long shot. But with or without Mr. Baker, I think FSU is in a good spot for some of these offensive linemen, some of these premier offensive linemen at that. And then as you scroll down, you see FSU's in the mix with some other guys, some of the hidden gems, like we like to call, as we continue to scroll down. If you go to the interior, this is another guy, Jason Zamandela. I expect this guy to commit to Florida State in the near future. Alex Atkins doing Alex Atkins things. That might be your center of the future right there, right outside the top 100 as an interior offensive lineman. I don't know of any other offensive line target. You can see this guy, Camarion Bush out of Tallahassee. I don't know much, but as you see, he's not ranked. He's not listed on anything. So I think FSU's going to try to get about 3 to 4 offensive linemen for sure. I really think you can pencil in Zamandela, my boy right here, and Daniels. I think you can pencil those guys in. I feel pretty confident about those guys personally. The question is, can we steal a Brandon Baker? Don't know, but I just know he's recently been talking about Florida State, so that's something that perk your ears up, Seminole fans. Now, Alex Atkins is going to try to push for one of these other premier offensive linemen. So South Carolina's killing it on the offensive line, by the way, man, with Pringle and Thompson. But maybe Florida State can get in the mix with Baker seriously, though a lot of people think Oregon is the favorite there. But before we continue, let's see what y'all think about that offensive line. Let me scroll up. Okay. If we get Trader and Smith, first of all, if you get Trader and Smith, Landon Thomas, that's 3 5-stars off the rip. 1 top player at his position. Actually, 2 top players at his position because Trader's considered an athlete. So 3 top players at their position because I still think Thomas is the number 1 tight end in the country. A top 5 running back, a top 6 quarterback. Yeah, you're definitely top 5 for sure. That's not even counting the offensive line we just talked about, man. Yeah. I think, though, and I could be wrong, because it's always tough trying to predict these things, right? Let's just say one or the other, because I'm not, I don't know if the likelihood of us getting both has to be not impossible, but a lot of it's going to have to show on the football field. And don't worry, I'm not I don't think anybody's writing any checks that the football team won't be able to cash. But there's only one football at the end of the day, like we always say. So it's gonna be interesting. Odell is. We'll talk about decent line. I'm not gonna do it now. We'll talk about D line when we get there. Interesting take, but we'll talk about linebackers when we get there too. What's going on? 305. Does this mean that Norvell is finally doing well? At the end of the day, you have to, regardless of how we feel, right? Until they sign on the dotted line, we don't know. I love the fact that we are finally back in the mix for some of these premier targets, where in the years past it didn't even seem like we were being mentioned. But you have a good season on the field that tends to uptick the recruiting. I think, I say all of this in hindsight, obviously, as when you're going through the storm, right? It's gonna suck. When you get out of it and on the back end, you go, man, that sucked, but we had this amazing time during that ride, right? You go back and look through sucky situations and you can find moments of enjoyment, I guess. I guess that's the military man speaking in me. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, looking in hindsight, you look at Mike, I really believe 2020 season put him so far behind the 8 ball that we don't realize how much of a hole was dug mainly from COVID. More than anything, I'm not going to get into the prior regime, none of that. I'm just talking about strictly from a COVID standpoint. When you look at, for instance, Mario Cristobal, and I'm not saying Mike's a recruiter like Mario, but what I am trying to say is Miami goes 5-7 and still signs the guys they sign. Well, that's because they were able to build relationships and have the visits and do the things that, and Mario already had the reputation of being a recruiter. Mike never had a chance to flex that muscle in the COVID year. He never had a chance to leave freaking campus or bring anybody on campus or any of things of that nature. So you couple that with just having a dreadful year, that COVID year on field, and just looking like a lost football team in every aspect, it really put him behind the curve on terms of recruiting. And we may be able to, I say all of that, Shar. Y'all know how I get sometimes. I give you all these long, drawn-out answers. But I say all of that to say we might be seeing the real Mike Norvell flex himself on the recruiting trail now. Thank you. What percentage of us winning the national? Ooh, who knows? We got a kicker. I didn't talk about him, but we got a kicker committed. I mean, I ain't gonna waste time talking about a kicker. William, what's up, William? Man, with the $2 don't know. He says if our offensive line can block, offensive line is going to block. I'm just gonna tell you that. But we will go 12-0. I don't know about that, but offensive line will block. Appreciate you, William, for the $2.
Tell her ass on with the Seminoles. I've been getting to this paper, focus on my goals. Trying to run this money up and pull up in a row. All this talking gangster, that shit getting old.
Norville Central's in the building. Let's read a couple more comments and then we'll continue. Yes, Adrian. Polk, I don't think everyone realized how awesome our offense is going to be this year. We are loaded. I definitely think we're loaded for big offense as well. Big game hunting, and it won't matter how good our defense is because, well, still gonna defense is always still key, but that's a whole different conversation for a whole different time. But I do think you're looking at an offense, that should be averaging in the 45 minimum per game ballpark. Hold on one second, guys. Let me a couple more comments and then we'll move on. And that's fair. You know, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, I am not ashamed to say that I had questions of Mike Norvell. I never once called for him to be fired, but I'm not ashamed to say that criticism wasn't deserved when we were going through it. But I do think if you're a smart individual and you just have logic on your side, you can look back and go, COVID year really messed that up. Now that's coupled with everything else, but COVID year really killed all the things going on there. Just unique set of circumstances that Mike faced. And again, I think, you know, if you count COVID year as the year zero, you're really in year 3 of Mike Norvell. You're really in year 3 of Mike Norvell right now. Right? I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. Polk, you were speaking truth about unique challenges Norvell's faced that only coaches who started 2020 would relate to. That JSU game was unacceptable. That was the moment where I almost broke. that game was a moment where I almost broke. Starting 0-4 almost broke me, period. I couldn't believe at that point. I've watched this team a long time, guys. I can't speak for anybody else. 0-4 was never even thought of as a realistic possibility. Let's continue, man. Let's continue down the list of where are we? What website are we on? I think we're on On3. Okay. So we got interior O lineman. I think we covered interior O lineman already. Yeah. So we're going to move on from O-line and we're going to go to edge. Now I'm going to go back to let's switch back to 247. Give me a second. And we're going to look at some of the edge players. There we go. Let's go straight to edge. And not in the running for any of these big ones. So Florida State doesn't really start getting involved, so to speak, until you get to Booker Pickett Jr. out of Tampa. He's 6'3", 200. He's kind of built like Dante Anderson, who you currently have on the team right now. Similar build coming out of high school. And the big one that everybody's aware of, the guy that has been crystal ball to Florida State, is Dylan Stevenson out of Miami, Florida. You know, that's if we can at least get him, as you can see, if you continue to scroll, not really. I mean, we're cool on almost every other player on the list, which is kind of disheartening when you're talking about recruiting the edge, because JP has been fairly decent at recruiting. Now, you missed out on a big guy last year who would have really helped. But you get you Dylan Stevens. If you get Dylan Stevens and Booker Pickett, maybe you're doing something. I don't know too much about Pickett. I got to look into him a little bit more. I just see that we're warm for that. But, I kind of disheartening that this guy, DJ Capers, right? He's going. Now, I think Miami's still trying to flip this kid. But the fact that you're committed to Louisville and you're a top 30 player out of Miami, Florida is ridiculous. I don't think he ends up at Louisville. Can Florida State somehow try to get into that conversation? I will say this, as I just have looked at the defensive end room or the edge room as a whole, I don't think this is one of the stronger classes. So if this is a class where you're not, if in 2020, or the 2024 class is a class where you say, well, maybe we don't get an elite D end. Honestly, I don't know if there's any elite D ends out there. This isn't a very deep class, in my opinion, in terms of defensive ends. I've seen better classes, is my point. So that's kind of where I lie on that. But Dylan Stevens is the big one. That's the one everybody expects. Let's see if we can close the deal on him as we move on from defensive end. We'll go to D-line. We'll probably spend a little bit of time on this because this is the big one. The kid out of Mississippi, Kamarion Franklin, he just recently put us in his top 4 or 5. I forget. But I want you to note the state that he's from and how we've done with those kids out of that state. Now, is it impossible? No. But as we know, this is not going to be an easy recruitment. Kamarion Franklin. And apparently LJ McCray is another one. Artavius Jones is another one. As you can see, Florida State they're warm for a lot of prospects. I love the fact that we are targeting a guy out of DC. We used to live in the DMV area. We tend to no longer, for whatever reason, recruit that area as strong as we used to. No knock on Jamori Flagg, but I've talked about us recruiting defensive tackles at length. Wait a minute. Who is this dude? Dylan Russell, 6'1", 235. That's a D lineman? You guys built like a 6. I don't know if I'm saying that right, yo. Hold on. 6'1", 235. Okay. Anyway, like I was saying, no knock on Jamori Flagg, but we've been recruiting that type for a while now. Like Joshua Farmer is in for a big year, or we're hoping that his development has got to the point where he's in for a big year this year. But that's another guy. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was first of all, he was a defensive end, and then he was a guy who I think was like in the 400 or 500s coming out of high school, right? And we've tended to done that. Even guys like Tafasi and Daniel Lyons. I mean, these were all like 3-star guys. I want to see us get back to the mode where we're recruiting multiple 4-star plus guys. Maybe this is the year we can get it. Because as you see, we're in the running and we're targeting a Nazir Johnson, 6'4.5", 300. Give me him all day. D.D. Holmes, 6'6". 6'6". Oh, I can put plenty of weight on the 6'6" frame. Give me that all day. Give me Artavius Jones out of Bluntstown, Florida. A top 150 player pretty much. LJ McCray, almost a top 130 player. Give me that. And obviously give me a top 40 guy in Kamarion Franklin. Can we get 2 of those guys we just named on top of Flagg and maybe another 3-star? I think that'd be a great defensive tackle haul. But when is the last time we've seen that becomes my issue? Let me see what y'all want to talk about when it comes to, I know because that defensive line gets people talking. You got vouch defenders for Coach Hagans, and I understand why. But like I say before, I've been questioning the recruiting there for a while. But let's see what y'all got. Coach JP need to step up on the trail, dog. We taking whatever we want from South Florida. It do seem like that, though. For if you don't sign, it's because we didn't want them. Shout out to Zoe. I love that. At edge, we absolutely need multiple quality ends. I don't disagree. The problem, like I alluded to, I don't know if this class has multiple guys like that. Give me Stevenson, and then the portal's always an option, obviously, and guys like that go to the JUCO ranks. But I'm with you. No. Because you're going to lose Verse. There's a chance you're definitely losing Verse. Even though Verse has another year, you're definitely losing Verse after this year, right? But if Pat has the year that some of us think, y'all do realize he's eligible this year for the draft. If Pat's a 8, 9, 10 sack guy, there's a good chance you can lose Pat and Verse this year. You need to have multiple quality ends. I agree with Tyler. Oh, wow. See, I didn't know much about him. Shout out to Cool Breeze with that. 30 sacks? Good God. Out of Tampa. Wanda Smith, how are you doing? It's your birthday tomorrow. Y'all say happy birthday to Wanda in the chat. And do I think Coleman will try basketball? Nah. I don't think he came to Florida State to do basketball. He's made it very clear that he's come to Florida State for this year. Coleman has 2 years. He's made it pretty clear that he's a one and done guy here. I don't think he wastes that time on the basketball court. That's just my personal opinion, though. Miami playing small ball, bruh. FSU wants Franklin at edge. Franklin. We're losing the minimum 20 kids after this season to the draft. If you're going to have, we're no longer a young team. You're talking Jordan Travis is gone. Trey Benson will be gone. Coleman and Wilson and Winston Wright all gone. The whole offensive line's probably gone. Yeah, the whole offensive line will be gone as far as your starters go. That's another. Yeah, Zoe hit the nail on the head. Major attrition at the end of this year, and that's not from guys like hitting the portal, or that's not just from guys hitting the portal. There will be portal additions, but you're talking about guys just graduating and going to the NFL. There's going to be a very large turnover at the end of this year for sure. Yes, sir. Very large turnover at the end of this year. And I agree with Tyler. For 2024 next year, regardless of what happens this year, we think we can reach the summit of Mount Everest this year. And maybe we do. And if we do, I agree with Tyler. That next season, we should temp our expectations for the following year because the turnover is too great the following year. You're talking 8 win. Like, I'm not saying 8 wins is like the ceiling, but around 8 wins, man. Like, because it's just gonna be a tough turnover. It's gonna be a tough turnover. Let's continue though, as we talk about D-line. Not as much Odell talk as I thought. I guess you guys are kind of in wait and see mode. Y'all want to wait and see is Odell gonna land some of these other guys. Let's go to the back end of this corner. Let's start with corner. Here we go. There he is. Lester, that's the guy, right? Number 2 corner in at his position. The number 4 player in the state of Florida. You're talking about a guy right outside the top 10 nationally. This would be, huge. He's a long, rangy DB. I've said this a million times, and I'll continue to say this. Sometimes we use the term like whiff too much. Sometimes, this would be a whiff. If somehow Lester does not end up a Seminole, this is a major black eye on Coach Surtain. I'm not going to lie. And y'all know I love the hire. I think most FSU fans have loved the hire up until this point. We still got to remain to see who he eventually gets and how his first recruiting class is going to look. If it does not include Charles Lester, I don't care who else he signs. I don't care. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I don't care if he gets KJ Bolden. If his class does not consist of Charles Lester, something bad happened there. And that is a major whiff. That is a black eye for Coach Surtain. At this point, FSU this would be Seattle Seahawks throwing a pick on the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl. Atlanta Falcons blowing, what was it, a 28-point lead or whatever it was in the Super Bowl. This would be a fumble of major proportions. Leicester is pretty much a Florida State lock at this point. If somehow he does not end up in this class, are you talking? I would be sick. I don't know. I would be sick. Some other guys, you see Jamari Howard. That's a top 100 guy out of Miami. Wardell Mack out of Louisiana. Kai Bates out of Orlando. FSU's got some. I love this guy right here, Jameer Grimsley. I know he's still a top 250 guy. That length, that range, absolutely love it. I expect a good DB class. This year. And so let's go from there straight to the safeties, because obviously the big fish there is KJ Bolden, as he continues to show Florida State love. But also let's be honest, man, he's showing Georgia love, and he's showing other schools some love. Clemson. Here's the thing that you have to be excited for if you're a Seminole, in my opinion. Look at all these Georgia safeties. Like, if I'm KJ Bolden, and you might be you're the best guy. I'm not saying you're not the best guy, but if I'm KJ Bolden, come on, man. Georgia's got 3 safeties. Georgia has, look at this, man. This is ridiculous. Georgia is on a whole different stratosphere. Georgia has 3, bro, of the top 5 safeties in the country. Or what? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, excuse me. 3 of the top 6. So they're shooting 50% in the top 6 of safeties in the country, with a chance to also land freaking KJ Bolden. Is insane. Absolutely insane. If Florida State can get KJ, Zaquan Patterson, as you see right there, I think Miami thinks they're pretty high on there for him. I don't know too much about Zaquan. I think Miami thinks they're in a good position there. But I think Florida State's in a good position for this young man right here, and Xavier Mincy. For your Florida State fan, I think that's a name that you should pay attention to. Don't know much about Ricardo Jones, but he's a Georgia guy. So Florida State's been doing really well in the state of Georgia lately. And then you got Jarvis Boatwright out of Clearwater. Obviously, we already have CJ Hurd committed. Again, look at the targets. Look at the quality of the targets. You're talking about all these guys in the top 150, including the corners, like, with the exception of maybe like Grimsley or something. But I expect a damn good DB class, top to bottom, this year from Pat Surtain. I really do. I expect a good class this year. Go back to the comment section. I think they're going to move him to safety. I've only been talking about AZ at safety for a while now, so I think we see that. William says, Surtain, all eyes on you. We got some guys coming back, but all our receivers are young, like Dustin Hill, Akeem, Williams, Jake. And it's crazy that Young and Dustin Hill is in the same sentence. I still don't even believe I'm still shocked. I'm still kind of in shock that actually happened. But no, we're going to be an extremely young team next year, top to bottom. I mean, you're talking. We already went over like the offensive guys that are gone. Defense, Fabo, Verse, like Fisk gone. Both linebackers are gone, and talk about Bethune and Deloach. Like, you're just Akeem Denton will be gone. Cypress will be gone. I think Jerry Jones will be gone. Ronaldo Green, like, next year is massive. Next year the end of this year is going to be a massive turnover year. Keep Leicester away from prime. What's going on, Born Legacy? We might have potential at worst to finish in the top 10, which is not bad, but I think we can even finish better than that in recruiting. I think we have a potential to have a top 10 class for sure. Top 5, we're going to have to land a combination. So I'll say this right now. I think we kind of finished up all the positions, if I'm not mistaken. We did edge, yeah. We did corner safety. The only thing we didn't do is athletes. So let me go. We'll do athletes after this. But you're gonna have to have we didn't do linebackers either. So my fault. We gotta do linebackers and athletes. We'll go to athletes and then we'll talk backers after that. But you're gonna have to land a combination of. So right now, yeah, you're gonna have to have a combination of obviously. Let's talk about who I think we know we're getting, and we know we're getting Lester. I think that's the only other 5-star that we can say, yeah, we're gonna get that guy. So now you're gonna have to talk about on top of Lester, you're gonna have to get Bolden and Trader or Bolden and who's the other one? Smith. You're gonna have to get at least 2 other 5-stars on top of Landon Thomas and Charles Lester. So you're gonna have to probably get 2 other 5-stars, and then probably hit on that D tackle who's right outside the 5-star range. I forget his name that quick, but we just looked at him, who's like a top 40 player to get in the top 5. Like you're gonna need at least 3 or 4 legit 5-stars. We're talking top 5 class. I know some people that think Hurd ends up at linebacker. Okay. Ricardo Jones, yep. I like his frame for sure. I think it's time for AZ to make the move as well. I agree. I guess that's the worst kept secret in America. I wholeheartedly agree. Let's go. Let's keep it moving, y'all. Keep moving. Hit that like button, guys. Hit the like button if you haven't hit it already. But let's move on to athletes. As we already talked about Josiah Trader. I don't know of any other athletes, but let's scroll down. Okay, so you got Jalewis Solomon. That's a hell of a name. Jalewis Solomon. Sound like something out of the Bible. Kalen Fox. That's another one of the worst kept secrets in America. Kalen Fox, they got him listed as an athlete. He's a tight end prospect. Pairing him and Landon is gonna be dynamic. Obviously, you see he's a smaller guy as far as body goes, but he's just as tall, long guy. I'm assuming he's an athlete because he can play some receiver. So there you go. Landon Thomas will be the more complete tight end. Fox might be, maybe a Jaheim Bell type of player, but he's another one of the worst kept secrets. I think everybody kind of knows. I think he's actually announcing next month in July. He might be announcing on Independence Day. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure I'm pretty positive it's in July. And I expect Florida State to be there. And then Makai Danzy, athlete. I don't know. I have to look and see what he plays, but can we start getting Tallahassee kids back to Florida State? I mean, I would love for us to start. Miami fans, they always talk about keeping kids home and making the crib great. I would love for some Tallahassee kids to start staying home. We've lost out on some big time Tallahassee prospects over the recent years, whether that's Terrion Arnold. Lord knows we could use him at safety right now. Last year was the linebacker who went up to Georgia, I think. Terrion Arnold with the Bama. There was that other safety. I think it was Amari Carter. I forget his name. Or Avery. I forget his name. But he was one of the top safeties in this class. Now, he was at Auburn, but I think he transferred. He might not ended up being that good. My point is, can we keep some of these Tallahassee prospects home? I would love to see that. Obviously, we already have LaWayne McCoy. P.J. Woodland out of Mississippi. There's another guy. Some of these athletes I don't really know much about. Ricky Knight. If he's a Palm Beach guy, I don't care where his ranking is. If I'm being honest with you, he's probably a burner. Give me Ricky Knight the third all day at a Palm Beach. I'm taking that. all day, every day. Then you see another athlete here in Jaquavius Marshall. He's a 6'3.5", 6'4", 185. Got to think it's wide receiver with that type of measurables. Kevin Levy, and another West Palm kid. I'll take him all day as well. I'll take them West Palm kids all day long. So those are some of the athletes, y'all. And let's go to backer, and then we'll finish off this recruiting. Well, we'll just finish off the formal portion, so to speak. This is where it gets depressing. I'm just going to keep it a beam with you before we scroll down. Don't expect a lot of for us to be in a lot of these battles. It's unfortunate. But Florida State is not in the mix for a lot of these linebackers. You can make excuses for Randy and say, he just recruits his certain type. Look, man. I'm going to scroll, but damn it. As you see, we got a guy. The 500, of course, it's the 500th ranked player. Now, to be fair, I believe Edwin Spillman is on campus this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Spillman is on campus. At least it's a 250 top guy. At least it's a legit blue chip prospect at backer. But damn, look how far we had to scroll before we even are. And 247 still says we're cool on him. They got a Tennessee and Ohio State battle, while Georgia, Florida State, and Arizona are cool on him right now. So yeah, he is on campus right now for our official visit. That picture, he looks jacked. Pause, no homo, but he looked like a big boy. But anyway, I don't know what to take from the Spillman. If whatever. Let me go back to linebackers. I lost my spot. I'm not confident in anything regarding these linebackers. Again, Florida State doesn't get to their first real legitimate, or according to 247, the first guy we're like legitimately in the running for until Michael Bogowski. Michael Bogowski. 6'2", 200, only has 12 offers. At least Oklahoma seems to have offered him. And yeah, then you get Jaden Parrish. Again, linebackers, take from you one on that. That crap's depressing as far as I'm concerned. If you can justify it, man, good luck. I'm trying to see the positive side when we talk linebacker recruiting, but I legit don't have one. Not even gonna lie to you. I don't have. I can't spin it, man. I can't spin it. Right. As far as linebacker, I've talked about linebacker recruiting at length, and how you look at this program and where it was and the names that have came through this university and where it is now. What do you want from me, y'all? Forget me. It ain't what you want from me. Y'all need to be writing Randy Shannon and telling him to get his act together. So there's that. Raylan Wilson. That was the guy I meant that went to Georgia. Yeah.
Okay, 5-minute break.
I think we all know Randy is bad. Well, some people say Randy isn't bad. He just recruits his type. I said this before. The term gym starts to lose its meaning when every 3-star is a gym. Like we use the term diamond in the rough in a gym way too much. Every 3-star is not a gym, because if every 3-star was a gym, well then damn it, there'd be no bad college programs. Okay, I say that all the time, man. We do this where we want to call Ward a gym, and again, I'm not directly attacking anybody, but I just call it how I see it. And we got that linebacker from North Texas, and he's another gym. Ward's a gym. And this Jaden Parrish kid is going to be a gym. Well, damn it, how many gyms? You know, a lot of cubic zirconian going on around here is all I'm saying. Like, damn. How about we get some known prospects? I know 5-7, 45-3 ain't coming in here talking about 8-4. Man, if you don't go sit in a corner somewhere, smack that ass 45-3, and you come in here throwing out predictions. You got a lot of nerve. You better hope you make a bowl game this year with your brand new staff and your damaged goods of a quarterback and that patched up O-line. Oh, man, don't do it. Don't do it. Just scrolling. What's up, Raymond James? Yeah, tell him hit that like button. Hit that like button. So we just went kind of position by position on a recruiting trail and looked at some of the targets. I mean, I guess the biggest question I have is how many of those guys do we feel comfortable? I think FSU feels pretty. When you talk about some of the major offensive line targets, I feel very comfortable on all of those. I love what we're doing in the receiver. I love the fact that now this strategy could backfire, but you never know. But I love the fact that we landed our receivers early and then kind of said, okay, we have our security blanket. Now we're finna go big fish hunting out here, or big hunting, not big fish hunting. That's not, doesn't make sense. We're about to go big game hunting or big game fishing. There we go. So we're about to go out here and we're about to try to get some big guns in the receiver room because we have a bit of a cushion to fall back on. Even if the fact that we're going after some big targets throws some of those guys off, even if a guy decides to leave or two, we are going out there and, we're going after some of the bigger guns in the receiver room. So I kind of like that strategy. We'll see how it ends up. Again, I told y'all there's one position that's currently committed that I would tell you don't get comfortable with, Florida State fans. It's that wide receiver room. So, again, I'm comfortable on the O-line, quarterback locked up, running back locked up. I want Lester to – I respect the fact that Lester is going through his recruitment process. I've supported that the entire time. But, damn it, stop giving me some anxiety and just commit already. Tight end locked up. I think when Fox finally commits, that tight end room will be closed up. I want to see some better stuff on linebacker, but I lose hope on backer. No one believes that we're going to all of a sudden be in the mix for these top backers. So there's that. D-line, I want us to close strong there, and I would love to get us some better edge players, but we'll see what happens with all of that. Mr. H says, it's all projection hype talk on each player. That's all. Y'all know how it goes. I'll take 5-7 year one over 3-6. What's the difference? That is definitely loser. Bro, what? You'll take 5-7 in a normal football year. Y'all listen to what Big 3 T2Y said. So y'all please let him have it. Because this is one of the most – I should probably clip this. And if I did like parody videos or whatever, this would be great. But I don't do that. But I'll let someone else clip it. I'll leave this on here long enough so y'all can make fun of him. By all means, post this on Twitter, all that stuff. Because this is one of the most ridiculous comments I've ever seen. I'll take 5-6 in a normal college football year, then 3-6 in a COVID year when Mike Norvell had no training camp, no spring ball, no offseason workouts, and a roster that he inherited that was already teetering because it had 2 coaches in 2 years already. You really want to make that comparison to a team that had a preseason Heisman favorite quarterback, the great Jalen Knighton? Y'all really want to do that? All right. I know we love our running back room, but man, I'm so excited to see what Mike can do with a legitimate top running back. I think Trey is a top running back, you know. Athletically, I don't think you get too much better than Trey Benson. I really don't. I don't know if you can find too many guys his size runs the way he does with the power behind it. Trey just had to last year take time to learn the position, learn that running back is more than just being bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody else, right? If Trey had Ward's vision and patience, buddy, I think Trey is a top talent. I don't want to use the word elite because I think we tend to use that word too much, but I do think Trey Benson is a top talent. Now, obviously, he wasn't a top talent coming out of high school. He was a 3-star, but I don't know. You can't. I know we got Cam, and we're excited about getting Cam, and I'm not knocking Cam in any way. I don't know if you can look at Cam and tell me he's brings anything to the table more than what Trey Benson does, if I'm being honest with you, Tyler. I don't think so. T2Y is in desperation mode. He's reaching for Asia. Polk, did you know that 2024 Miami versus US the first game of their season? That'd be a fun game to watch. Miami fans are like the X. They won't let go and keep stalking you on social media. Cam will have been in this offense from the beginning, and I love me some Trey. What I pick up that was by Mike. Trey was a huge pickup. And at the time, I own it, but no one, I won't say no one, because there were people that, were good on it. At the time, I just didn't understand the take at the time, because we already had Trayshawn Ward and Toa Philly. I just didn't understand the take. I didn't think we needed a running back coming off of a knee injury, and boy, was I wrong. And so was a majority of Florida State fans. I was not in the minority with the Trey Benson talk. And anybody that says otherwise, that they were all on board, there was a select few. But majority of us, including some of your favorite content creators, podcasters, beat writers, a lot of them did not understand the Trey Benson take. And a lot of them were not on board with it. Didn't make sense to them. So it wasn't just me. And you got to be excited about the guy. I'm excited about Rodney. I'm excited about Singletary. I'm excited. Like he said, the guys behind Trey, you got to be excited to see too. I agree with that. I think there's a real chance if Luke is an early enrollee that he starts in 2024. Very tough to ask that from quarterbacks. I don't know. I got to see more of Luke. His meteoric rise has almost been too fast for me to automatically jump to Luke Kromenhawk as the 2024 starter. I don't know if you're being honest, Tyler, or just saying that to stir the pot. That is, I don't know. I can't throw Luke. He will have the biggest upside by far of anybody in that room for sure. But I don't know. We're not in a position where we need to rush. And I do think after this year, you're going to see a transfer or two. When you bring in Luke, Travis is leaving, and it's really going to be between Duffy and Rodemaker. I think whoever loses that battle, because I don't think Brock Glenn's going to be necessarily ready, but he has his own talent. you probably lose a guy. I'll probably say the loser at a Tate Rodemaker and AJ Duffy probably hits the portal, if we're just being honest. So if that happens, obviously Luke's going to redshirt year one. Well, no, you said early enrollee, so you think as a freshman. Yeah, I can't. I don't know. I don't see that. Especially if a guy transfers like I think. I don't think you risk Luke Kromenhawk coming in year one and straight bypassing, let's say Duffy beats out Rodemaker, and now he's going to bypass Duffy and Brock Glenn off rip. I don't know about that. I don't know. Now, I'm all for if a guy has it, then put him on the field. I just, that quarterback's a unique position. If you look at most teams that start true freshmen, you either have a transcendent talent, Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, somebody like that, or you don't have any talent. I think we got talent that we don't have to force Luke out there. When Trey believes he can run through every tackle and plays more violently, he will be super elite. Mr. Orr says, "Here we go, Polk," or M. Roar. I always call you Mr. Orr because that's what it looks like to me, but it's M. Roar. Nobody believes in Duffy or Tate now. I still have questions about, obviously, both of them. Duffy, we haven't seen in any critical moments. Tate looked good in the second half against Louisville, which was great. I still question if Tate was given the reins long-term, would he be successful? But that's just because of the drastic change between what we saw from Tate under Dillingham and what we see from Tate in that second half against Louisville under the young future prodigy, the prodigy that I'm extremely high on. Y'all already know my boy, the QB coach for Florida State, and I'm prolonging it because I freaking forgot his name, and I love the guy. Holy crap. His name just literally slipped my mind that quick. What is our QB coach's name? I'm ashamed of myself. My brain just went in sleep mode on me that quick. Holy shit, bro. Let me scroll down. What is the name of our freaking quarterback? Tokars. Tony Tokars. Holy hell. Holy hell. The young prodigy that is Tony Tokars. I do not think that it is a coincidence that our quarterback play, both Travis and Rodemaker, look night and day under Tokars than Kenny Dilling. I think that has a lot to do with Mike being more involved in the play calling than Kenny and some other things. So, yeah. William thinks Luke will start. Well, if Tate beats out AJ, that's sad for us. I don't agree with that, but I kind of understand why. I do understand why you're saying that, Jonathan. But I agree. Tate knows the offense as well as anybody not named Jordan Travis, if not more so. Hell, if you don't remember, COVID year, Tate Rodemaker was second on the depth chart to freaking Blackman. When we went out there against JSU the first time that we almost lost to them bastards, Tate Rodemaker started that game. And then Jordan Travis had to come in and save the day. So they've always thought high of Tate Rodemaker. For whatever reason, we didn't see it at first, but they always thought high of him. Rodemaker knows the offense as well as anybody, for sure. And I've always said he can throw the ball. It has everything to do with, has the game slowed down for him and his confidence level? And maybe it has. I really forgot his name like that, y'all, but y'all know what I'm talking about. If we only had Jeff Sims, we would have been elite. Oh, man. They definitely thought Tate was the future. And he could still be. I understand the whole thought process of, if AJ's not the guy. But you also got to remember, man, Kenny brought in AJ. I still think AJ can be good. I'm not giving up on Duffy. I think for whatever reason, people have been so quick to give up on AJ Duffy without ever seeing the guy do anything. But Bo Nix, or not Bo Nix, I'm sorry, but maybe someone Kenny has Rashada, so he probably won't need AJ. I'm just trying to think of, could he go somewhere? And I was the reason I said Bo Nix, because Bo Nix is going to leave Oregon, and maybe AJ would transfer to Oregon if it didn't work out here. But I forgot Kenny took the Arizona State job, but he also signed Rashada, who I think Rashada probably starts day one there because they don't have anybody else. So I don't know what's going to happen with AJ. I think AJ is going to be here. But I do think one of the two leave. I do think AJ or Tate leave after this year. I just think it's inevitable. Your quarterback room's too healthy at this point. I think somebody's going to go take their chances somewhere else. Because Luke Kromenhawk is going to scare whoever loses. And who knows? It might be a three-way battle at the end of the year. Brock Glenn might thrust himself, but he's going to scare like the loser of that battle. Because he's coming in with the big arm, right? He's coming in. So he's coming. Pause. Bring back Chubba Purdy. No, we're good. We are good. Of all the QBs on the current roster, who has the highest upside? It's hard not to say Brock. I didn't know Brock Glenn was the athlete he was. That I don't think the other two guys are. I mean, Tate can run a little bit. We've seen Tate run. I hear AJ's not slow or immobile, but it's got to be Brock Glenn. I think he's got a big arm and he's athletic. It's just about consistency, consistently being accurate, and like every quarterback, understanding schemes and defense, like all that stuff that every quarterback's got to go through. But from a natural talent standpoint, I think Brock Glenn probably has the highest upside of the current quarterbacks on the roster. Obviously, we're not including Jordan Travis, but Jordan Travis he's an old wily vet at this point. So, so is Tate Rodemaker kind of. But I would say Brock Glenn. So hit the like button, y'all, if y'all haven't hit it. Y'all know how we do on The Hangover. We don't go too long on The Hangover, so we're not going to be here much longer. But we do have 53 likes, so, man, continue to hit that like button on the way in. And we got a few more minutes, man, and then we'll go a few more minutes, and then we'll close this one out for the night. And I'm going to do a Saturday night live tomorrow, which y'all know how we do on Saturday nights. That thing could go for 3 hours if we wanted to, right? So tomorrow night, we'll do another live. Y'all come in here. We'll continue the conversation. But we're not done yet, but I just want to let y'all know it's coming up. I like to keep my hangovers not too long so it's easier to listen to and digest. What's up, Champs 99? Tate is our smag. I hear you. I'm rooting for AJ, but I want the best guy to win. But I would love to see AJ Duffy be, But I'm rooting for the best guy to win at the end of the day, whoever that may be. But really sum this thing up, y'all. Like, a lot of buzz on the recruiting trail. That's pretty much what this whole episode was about. Recruiting and the buzz around it. And the fact that we're in the mix for some big time. We're in the mix for some key guys. And we got some key guys committed. See, Tyler asked, who is my favorite player currently? Well, I said when CJ Hurd commit, because of the way he committed, that he would forever be my favorite player. But if I had to, from an actual football standpoint, let me look real quick. I'll be honest. My favorite player, just from the film, I know Landon Thomas is all world and all that, but Luke might be my favorite player as of right now. I love that just what they saw with him has translated over the year. They peeped the talent early before everybody else nationally peeped it. And then you go watch the actual tape of this guy throwing the football. And Luke's got a special arm. I believe he has a special arm from what I see. And he that makes him my favorite. Off topic, but it's very similar to like people talk about who's the top quarterbacks coming into this season. And obviously the top two are Drake May and Caleb Williams, right? And I believe personally, I slightly favor Drake May. But I'm telling you right now, and I've said this all along, when it's all said and done, Quinn Ewers might be the best quarterback in the country. It's just some guys, man, when you watch throw a ball and that ball jumps off their fingertips, you know what I mean? Just so effortlessly that you go, yeah, that guy can spin it. I see that in Ewers, and I think I see that in Luke. So that's how I feel about Luke. Luke's my guy. But ultimately, man, that was the point of this episode. Like, we wanted to get in there, get in the weeds, look at some of the top targets that's remaining, who we're trending for, and obviously go over the guys that we already have committed. And I think we have a solid class committed. But like I said, he said Quinn's upside is 1, but that damn floor is 30. I hear you. He didn't stay healthy last year, but I hear you. I want to see him healthy. And with that roster around him at Texas, I think Texas has maybe the second most talented roster in the country. Obviously, it's still Georgia. And Ohio State's obviously up there. But I think Texas is the top 3 roster in the country. Sark has recruited like that. Edwards has that type of talent around him. That guy can stay healthy. I mean, I'm telling you, when it's all said and done, Quinn Edwards might be the top guy. But like Jurg said, he could also be top 10, number 1 overall, or 30, right? So I don't disagree with Jurg. He should be behind. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think he has a top 3 team in the country talent-wise. I don't know if Texas lives up to it. They haven't lived up to it in recent years. But I think Texas has one of the top 3 rosters in the country. But, man, you getting us – I'm with you. See, y'all get me off topic. But tomorrow night, we'll talk more college football, the bigger picture, and other teams. We're going to close this in tonight. Definitely tune in tomorrow night. We'll do a Saturday night open bar. As you know, open bars, all topics on the table. And we'll get into all of that stuff that y'all trying to come in here and talk about as I'm signing off. Man, we talk recruiting tonight. We talk Florida State recruiting and some of the targets left. We're in the mix for some big-time guys. I expect at a minimum a top 10 class this year. If we go do on the field what we think we're going to do on the field, you could see a top 5 class. And with all that said, Jurg says we? We? Okay, we'll see if we show up. I know I'm going to show up. We'll see if we show up. Or if we might show up an hour late like usual. But we'll see. We can talk boxing, bro. A lot of good boxing talk if y'all want. Open bar tomorrow, like I said. Y'all get excited for tomorrow night. Open bar. Y'all come in here. Put the topics on the table, man. We'll go down it one by one. What time tomorrow? It won't be a no after dark. But it still might be a little bit later in the evening. So maybe, let's see. Like it's already 8 Central Time right now or close to 8. It might be around this time. I'll say around this time tomorrow night. Around this time tomorrow night, y'all tune in. Maybe a little earlier. I don't know. I don't know yet. But somewhere around this time tomorrow night. And with all that said, y'all hit that like button on the way out if you did not hit it on the way in. It's your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. And we are out. Cheer. Go Noles. And y'all tune in tomorrow night, man. And we'll continue the conversation. We out here, y'all.